Okay, today we're going to be talking about the Nomadic Murray. It's a dive watch out of Belfast. And I was trying to find the right way to explain this watch. I was this close from grabbing that watch. Nah, I don't like that. A brief description of who he is, what he has to do with Nomadic watches. We about to get into it, man, so let's go. Trying to find the right atmosphere. I wasn't so much concerned about the background of where I was. It was just more of how can I convey to you what I discovered in this watch. Okay, so check this out. Last year, I discovered this watch, right? I went to Minutes and Hours, which is formerly known as Microbrand. What makes this different than any other watch that I've ever purchased from a Microbrand or independent, if you will. I mean, with every watch purchase that I've ever had or have been gifted or come across, all of them have, they all tell the same time. Most of them have the same movements. They're either NH35s, Solitas, or the ETA movements, or even SDP movement. But I want you to go down this rabbit hole with me today because we're going to talk about a watch that, well, just listen to this guy. What's going on, family? Welcome back in. Welcome to the show. So I'm sort of excited about this review, right? I want to just give my take on this watch right here, this Nomadic Murray. But before we get into that, I found out about this watch during an event, Minute and Hours. It used to be called Microlux, right? I went to a show in Chicago a year ago, and then I ended up going to another show they had in Texas, Austin, Texas. And this is where I found Nomadic, right?
Wow. Most of our executives coming in from Austin, and they'll be here. We'll start coming in on Monday.
Yeah, if those guys
okay, so here's the deal, family. There's a bunch of independent watch companies here, but this is the one watch that I want to come see. I saw the reviews online, and before we go any further, if you're here right now, this is the only watch you can get like this. All the other ones do not have that rotor that was custom made for this show. And I liked the watch when I saw it because it reminds me of a Tudor, right? Or AKA Rolex dive watch. And I'm gonna get into all that here in a second. But this is where this watch literally kind of, we talk about the rabbit hole, jumping down that and finding more watches, accessories, stuff like this. No, this took me down a rabbit hole of history because you can literally tie JP Morgan to this watch company. Here, you probably thinking like, what do you mean, Trap? How is that possible? JP Morgan was born in like the late 1800s, and I'm telling you, this how it works out.
It's James again. Right behind me again is the House of Morgan. A lot of people don't realize that JP Morgan owned White Star Lines, which owned the ill-fated Titanic. Morgan had tickets for the maiden voyage, and while he was boarding the ship, he had a business emergency that called him off the ship. The ship, of course, left without him, and of course, you all know the end of the story.
If you don't know who JP Morgan is,
power and influence. JP Morgan had it all. He owned the first billion-dollar company. He dominated the country's most profitable industries. And on multiple occasions, the economy of the United States quite literally depended on the actions of JP Morgan. With a simple word or the stroke of a pen, he could save a company from collapse or doom it to bankruptcy. Hated by some, admired by others, there will never be another man quite like JP Morgan. This is his story.
And you guys remember the Titanic? Of course, I know you guys saw the movie. Titanic, he owned majority shares, so therefore, even though that ship was made in Belfast, it's a British ship, he owned it. So American, British connection, and we're continuing in that phase. So Nomadic did something neat, I think is pretty cool, is that they tied that history of the Titanic to this watch, which just talks, we about to get into it, man, so let's go. So the first time I saw this watch was basically in Austin, Texas last year, in person. I actually saw a video on this watch when I heard about Nomadic because I like dive watches. I actually like this style. And It has been referred to as a Tudor homage, right? But let's be real. That watch looks like the Rolex. That watch has been proven, or that design has been proven to be something that people just draw to. It don't matter. It shows like this richness when it comes to that. And this is a tool watch. That's the crazy thing. This watch was made to adventure in. It was made for work. It was made to, of course, it's stylish, but this watch is really nice, man. And one thing that I do like that Nomadic did, or the team in Nomadic, they listened. People were talking about, hey, I think the lug was too tall or too long, right? So they shortened it. It's 48 millimeters now. If you look on the back, you see that rotor? That right there, there was one reviewer that stated that it didn't show any ties to the Nomadic, or like in the Titanic ones didn't even mentioned. And this is where JP Morgan comes in, because JP Morgan owned the Titanic, right? Pretty much. He owned majority of the shares of the Titanic. And this dude was a financial guru in his day. And that tied Belfast to America off top. And Titanic is one of the greatest ships. Now, granted, this is called the Nomadic, which in the name, if you didn't know, the Nomadic was a vessel that is like, a quarter the size of the Titanic?
SS Nomadic was a mini version of the Titanic, built with the same opulence and luxury, and used to ferry the wealthy first-class passengers out to the liner at the start of her doomed maiden voyage across the Atlantic. After the sinking of the Titanic, though, Nomadic worked on for another 90 years. She was a troop ship in both world wars, served the new luxury liners and their famous passengers, and became a floating restaurant on the River Seine in Paris.
They upgraded everything. So now you have this quick release right here on bracelets, so you can put on straps and everything else. Also, this is another thing too, on the fly adjustment. Very easy. You pull that and you make your adjustments once you get a size. Then the bracelet itself, I mean a solid bracelet, screw pins. The finishing on this one is superb. I'm talking about superb. Now I had I had the pleasure of meeting them last year in Austin, and I saw this design. They did it just for the show. And then, I just noticed that. I didn't even notice it was Nomadic on that metal bar right there for the mill clasp. I didn't even know that. Then, of course, that N stands for Nomadic, not Nordic Track. And the finishing, I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if you guys are seeing this on camera, but I'm going to say this is probably one of the most complete dive watches I have in my collection right now. Love the crown. Oh, and guess what? Here's the biggest thing. They put the Sellita 200 in there, right? Sellita 200-1. Now, one of the biggest complaints that Nomadic was getting from people was like, hey, they like the watch, but it had a ghost date. No longer have a ghost date. That movement in there is made for that. So I had the no date, and I enjoy the watch. And then you see this also. That's another thing that ties Nomadic, or the Nomadic brand, to Belfast, is if you go out there.
In Belfast, there are 2 shipyard cranes that are now landmarks in the city. Owned by shipbuilders Harland and Wolff, they're located in the Queen's Island docks. The 2 cranes, nicknamed Samson and Goliath, are clearly visible on the Belfast skyline.
Of course, the Nomadic was built there, the Titanic was built there, but they have 2 large cranes, Samson and Goliath, and you see that yellow, which I think, man, I'm telling you. And then if you look at around the track here, which, let me show you the loom. The loom is amazing, right? That loom is crazy. I like it. And it lasts through the night, man. I tested it for about 4 hours, and it was still legible after 4 hours, so I have no complaints there. Hold up. You hear that? Very nice, crisp. Let me get you back. And then you have that loom pipped up there. I'm going to tell you this. Complete watch. One of the best divers I have. And I'm going to tell you like this. What I feel about this watch, I do have a number of divers in my collection right now. I've had this watch since Saturday. of this past week when I went to Minutes and Hours. If you can see here, very, 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 I mean, the event was amazing. You guys need to go to one of those if you haven't yet. But my take on this watch is, if you liked it before and everything that was said about it, you'll love this one. Absolutely love this one, man. So I would say give it a go. It has everything that I like, and you guys know that I like bigger watches. This is 40 millimeter. Oh, I almost forgot. It's thinner now. It was the last model, the last variation was 13.5. This thing is 11.5 millimeters tall, man. Dude, they did everything, man. Like, they giving you fan service. They giving you exactly what you want. Plus, you guys saw the what it comes packaged in. You get tools in there, and you can turn this thing into whatever you like. You could put leather on here. You could put like rubber straps, sailcloth, whatever. This watch is ready to go. This is an adventurous watch, so I highly recommend it. I left a link down to Minutes and Hours. I left a link down to them, as well as go to their sign up for their newsletter to find out more information. But they are very active on social media. They have a number of YouTube videos out there for your viewing pleasure. And yeah, man, that's it, man. I'm gonna just say, go grab it. Don't quit wasting time, man. Go get the watch, man, if you like dive watches. So I'm about to enjoy my coffee and my timepiece. So until the next lightning strike, ladies and gentlemen, y'all be blessed.